If Christ is our treasure, then everything entrusted to us can become a means of making him visible. But the remarkable thing is not simply the deeds themselves. The treasure is not our goodness. I have known people who were not Christians whose generosity and kindness humbled me. People who opened their homes and resources to children who needed them. An elderly woman who cooked for shut-ins and cleared snow for neighbors younger than herself. An atheist whose warmth made people feel deeply valued. Christians have no monopoly on remarkable deeds. So perhaps Christian witness is not about becoming impressive enough that people want to be like us. Perhaps we have misunderstood the point. The treasure is Christ. Where does your life point? Jesus says to let our light shine so that people see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven. The works do not terminate on us. They point beyond us. The question is not simply what we do. It is what our lives reveal about what we treasure. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If Christ is our treasure, that orientation begins touching everything. Our money, our time, our homes, our reputation, our security, our suffering. We begin holding loosely what everyone around us is struggling to secure. Not because these things have no value, but because they are not our treasure. Jars of clay. I remember reaching out to a woman who was struggling and wanting to point her toward Christ. But I did not want her to know that I was struggling too. I felt like a hypocrite. I thought my weakness would make God look weak, as though my life needed to prove that Christianity worked. I had made myself the evidence. But Paul describes something very different. We carry treasure in jars of clay so that the surpassing power may be seen as belonging to God and not to us. The jar does not need to look impressive. The treasure does. Paul does not hide what happens to the jar, afflicted, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken. The witness is not that Christians do not struggle. It is that something holds us in the struggle. Christ remains. When everything becomes unstable. Peter writes to believers who are suffering. He tells them not to fear what others fear. Instead, they are to honor Christ as Lord and be ready to answer anyone who asks about the hope within them. Why would anyone ask? Perhaps because they are witnessing hope where circumstances cannot explain it. Not constant happiness, not denial of grief. Hope. When money disappears, Christ remains. When reputation disappears, Christ remains. When comfort disappears, Christ remains. When earthly security disappears, Christ remains. Paul could say, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. This is where the contrast becomes difficult to explain. A person who can grieve without losing hope. A person who can lose what everyone else is clamoring to gain and remain secure. Because their treasure was never there. The freedom of another kingdom. If money is not my security, I am free to give it. If reputation is not my treasure, I can surrender it. If comfort is not my hope, I can inconvenience myself in love. If status does not give me worth, I can take the lower place. If death cannot take Christ from me, even my life can become an offering. This is not recklessness. It is freedom. The world clings tightly because these things carry enormous weight. Security, identity, status, hope. But what happens when Christ carries that weight instead? Our hands begin to open. Our lives become available. Our resources become instruments of love. Our suffering becomes a place where hope can be seen. And people notice. Not because Christians are better. Not because our lives are painless or impressive. But because something about the way we live points beyond what can be seen. What is the reason for the hope within you? That is Christian witness. Not look at how good I am. Look at what I treasure. Look at what remains when everything else is shaking.